Hey, what's up, rock stars? It's Rox coming to you today with a review for Love and Marriage Huntsville, Season 6, Episode 29. So let's get to it, shall we? All right, you guys. So the show starts, they're out in Houston at Chris's, and Nell invited everybody out there to an Airbnb so that they can just all hang and have a good time together. They love Houston, Texas. They all come down to dinner, and the food looks really good. Chris has prepared the food for the day or for the evening, and so we're going to sit down and have a good time. Stormy and Courtney are just getting there with the baby, and they got that look on their face like they tired, they don't feel like it, they are not in we about to get on camera mode in any kind of way. Apparently, like, they missed their flight, or the flight was late, and they had a connection and that got messed up, and then the nanny didn't make it, missed the connection. So yeah, everybody is in sorts. They probably didn't have any plans of bringing their child with them to, the house. I'm sure the nanny was supposed to be with the baby wherever it was supposed to be, but since the nanny didn't make it, they have the baby. So anyway, they got that look on their face like, And then when they get there, they find out that they were supposed to be sharing bathrooms with Martell, I think it was. And they're not going to do that. You got a whole family that's going to be trying to share a bathroom with this other man. And, we see later on that Martell is not just by himself. So it's just sort of like, I wouldn't have wanted to share a room with them either. With him turning out to be possibly a them. And a complete stranger, so no. And when they were about to leave back out, it was funny when Marcel was just like, you guys don't want me to watch the baby? And, Courtney was like, hell no. He was like, Marcel don't even watch his own kids. He said it twice. First time it went by with no problem. The second time, I guess Marcel might have heard it. And, I guess he felt some kind of way about it. Yeah, suffice it to say, Courtney and Marcel, they don't see it for each other, and they gonna always have slick little remarks for each other. Well, I would say that Courtney and Stormy is gonna always have slick remarks for Marcel, and probably vice versa. In the midst of all that also happening, they were all sitting at the table, and this is probably around the time when the internet was all in shambles about Kimmy and Maurice's sex life. Remember when Maurice went on that Carlos interview? So I'm assuming that this is because, remember, it was a couple of weeks of that, and last week she brought it up, and now they're talking about it again. So I'm assuming that this was around the time that they was probably going on Fox Soul, because remember, he said it on Carlos, then he went back and said it again, basically with Claudia and Al and Funky. So what was funny was, this was my first time really seeing that Kimmy was kind of making excuses for Maurice. I don't never think that Kimmy makes excuses for Maurice. I think that Kimmy just understands Maurice, and so she always, kind of sees that different side of him. But the fact that she was just like, Maurice just didn't think before he said what he said. And then when Mel said, well, wait a minute, the problem is not what he said, is like how he feels. Does he really truly feel like that? Maybe it just came out wrong, but if it didn't come out wrong and that's how he feels, then that's another problem, and that's what Kimmy is missing, or probably purposely ignoring, because I think that Maurice still feels exactly the way that he feels. When they asked Maurice about it, he was just like, I wish I never said it. Okay, because certain things, we have discussed plenty of times. Certain things, kitchen table talk, is not for the general mass. Okay, everybody don't need to know that you feel like you need to have sex 3 times a day, because it's unreasonable. So if that's what you guys do in y'all house and it worked for y'all keep that with you in your house. And then when you start telling everybody else, and everybody's gonna have an opinion, So yeah, that's what that was about. But Maurice apologizes. He wishes he hadn't said anything. They gonna squash it and stop talking about Kimmy and Maurice's love life. Then they notice that Martell is wearing wearing a ring. Oh, it's so nice. Is that your wedding ring? And I was just like, why would he? I mean, it could possibly be his wedding ring. Well, I don't know why Martell would still have his wedding ring on, but it's Martell, so anything could be possible. When they asked Mel, well, did that look like the ring? And Mel was just like, I don't know, I didn't look at the ring. But this is exactly what she was talking about We was not gonna start this. Don't start that, you know, because they was like, I know you don't think that Mel is about to take you back and all. And it was just sort of like, it was Chris and Nell that was doing it. And Chris and Nell are newcomers. So, you know, they not quite, although they should have seen the scenes and seen the episodes, but you know, now they're doing what everybody else used to do, which was still wanting to put Mel and Martell together, no matter how many times Mel has said, please do not do that. Okay. So they're about to get started with that, you know, in the whole teasing thing. I think the men can handle that better than the women can. So, you know, when Marceau was like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. Like, we not fixing to do that. Okay. Mel is Mel Rogers. Martell is Martell Holt. We gonna keep them separate. This is not gonna be that cute kind of thing that, you know, we all used to do. And Mel was grateful for that. Thank you. But anyway, I forgot to tell you guys that when they were leaving, when Courtney and Stormy was leaving, and, you know, the whole talk about the baby came up, for some reason, don't ask me why, but I guess just the talk about the baby, it was a trigger for Marceau, and it brought him back around to the fact that Letitia took the pregnancy test. So when he was like, when Courtney said he don't watch his own kids, you know, Marceau was thinking and shit, and then he goes, Tisha, how many people did you tell about the tail? And she was just like, what? What do him saying about a baby have to do with? Okay. I don't know what it had to do with it either, but it made Marceau think about it. So, you know, Letitia starts to explain to the table about the whole taking a pregnancy test. Okay. And so when she's telling Mel, because pretty much everybody else already knows. So she's telling Mel, and Mel is just like, okay, so what's the problem? Okay, well, the problem is she took this damn pregnancy test and her husband had a vasectomy some years back. Okay. So why would she be pregnant if her husband had a vasectomy? What I just wish that Marceau and Letitia would do, instead of dragging this whole thing out, well, I know why Letitia's dragging it out, and I see why Marceau is dragging it out. Marceau's ego is bruised. Marceau is now finally truly getting to see how it feels when he gaslights Letitia. Okay. And I don't know if Letitia's doing it on purpose or not. However, it's definitely an eye-opener, because now we can see that there is some true insecurities there. There's either some true insecurities there, or Marceau was doing this to help his wife out. Okay, but we'll talk about that in a second. The fact that Marceau keeps on saying, like, you know, I had a vasectomy, and, you know, it's a 99.9% chance, you know, you can't get pregnant, and he's not thinking about that 0.01% chance that, you know, you could get pregnant by the person that had a vasectomy and all that. He, of course, would think that his mind would jump to cheating. And Kimmy and some others at the table didn't think it was unreasonable. And, you know, when I say some others, I'll say Martell. Martell is so super co-signing, because Martell is so happy about the fact that somebody else gets to be called a cheater or a possible cheater in the house. That's all Martell ever wants. He don't want to be the only one that was so blatantly stupid when he cheated, got caught, had a baby, all of that, you know. So now he just, you know, now he know good damn well Letitia ain't cheat on that man. He knows that. Marceau knows that too. Okay, but he gonna make a big deal out of this, and honestly, me as a viewer, I'm enjoying it. I like to see Marceau squirm. He's done it to Letitia so many times. So that's what Mel was just like, you're not fixing to make a thing of this. We're not even gonna let you make a thing of this. Okay, you guys she didn't get pregnant. You didn't get her pregnant. You had the vasectomy. She had the pregnancy. Like, it's like, you guys are arguing. You guys are trying to argue over something that didn't happen. That's what I was telling you guys last week. This is one of those stupid arguments that you get into over a possibility. The shit didn't even happen. Why are you guys this emotional and upset about it? Well, really, because it's ego. And I think that Letitia is using it to get back at Marceau. Or if Marceau is allowing her, you know, again, like I said, we'll talk about it. But I got a few little theories on why this storyline is taking place and acting like it's so much bigger of a deal than it needs to be. So, you know, Mel was just like, Mel's whole thing was, She's blindly trusted you in the past. Okay, we see all of the clips. They didn't even show all the times that Letitia has been blindly trusting Marsau. There's been many instances when somebody could have called it and said that Marsau might be doing something, and she's always stood by her man. Okay, so a bitch can't get the same kind of consideration over here, you know? So yeah, I understand why Letitia's upset. But like I said, it don't need to be all of this. So they going back and forth, and you know, nobody's really bending on it. Nail finally says, listen, okay, that's enough about that. Everybody is we gonna split the group up. The men gonna go do what the men do. The women gonna go do what the women do. You know, let's just get some space from each other. Okay, so everybody gets up from the dinner table, and they're gonna continue on with their night. Now later on, the ladies all go down to the pool. Okay, this is nice. Oh, look, oh man, you know. And then Mel comes, and Mel has on glasses, and Letitia was just like, why you got on glasses? Oh, you look like Martell, you know. So then Mel is just like, I don't know why. It's because I have on sunglasses that they want to say that I look like Martell. You know, Mel was just like, this ain't about Martell. This is just a vibe that Mel is trying to have. You know, Mel say she enjoying life. You know, everything is, she go out the country, she go on vacation, she enjoying life. And I'm not mad. I'm not mad. Do you, Mel? Okay. But yeah, Mel was just like in that mode where she was like, I'm just going to say what I feel like. I feel free. I mean, she's a Rogers now. So she was just like, you know, my only regret from being married was that I was with a dude that never made me come. And all the ladies was like, what? No, you never had a damn orgasm with Martell. Nope, never have. They was like, really? Like, did you tell him? Like, did he know? And she was like, yeah. They actually even showed a clip when she talked to him. You know, remember when they lived together, and she was telling him she wanted him to talk freaky in the bedroom, and he don't want to do that. Okay. Letitia's all, that don't make you come in. And Mel was like, you don't get to tell me what makes me have an orgasm. I know what helps me. Okay, what you like to do in the bedroom is one thing. What I like to do in the bedroom is another. But you know, she was like, but it's not all about sex. Okay, sometimes it's about intimacy. That's when Kimmy joins in, and they start talking about Maurice and his whole thing about sex and how Kimmy didn't feel protected and whatnots. So when they were asking her about her not being protected, you know, that's when she had brought up, you know, him talking about the ex-wife and saying, you know, like, that's my ex-wife. That's the baby's, you know, that's my child's mother. And she's like, well, I'm the wife. So it's sort of like she felt like Maurice puts Kiowa and Monster ahead of her. And I think that Maurice does that as well. I think that's just something that they're going to have to work out and work through in their marriage. And so Mel was just like, oh yeah, there's been plenty of years where I didn't feel protected. And again, did you tell him? Yes, of course she told him. I mean, Martell knew how Mel felt. Of course, any man is going to know how they woman feel if you going through something that Martell and Mel went through. That's nothing that she even really needed to tell him. But yeah, she did tell him that as well. So, you know, Letitia's whole thing is that she's just upset about the fact that she's always believed Marsau first. Like, whatever Marsau tells her, then that's it. This is the trust level that she has with her husband. To find out that her husband doesn't have the same trust for her is upsetting to her. So Nell was just like, well, did you believe your husband when he said, you know, that he didn't trust you and that he, you know, felt like you was out there cheating and all that? And she was just like, yeah, I believed him. He meant that. You know, because Nell said that maybe he didn't mean it, but no, it kind of looked like Marsau does mean it. But we gonna, like I said, I got a theory on it. We gonna talk about it. But in a minute, we see the men. Now the men are playing dominoes. And again, the men always have a relationship where they can kind of tease and laugh and shit with each other. But in this case, Marsau not really trying to be laughing and teasing and shit and joking with the fellas. This was like you arguing over something that could have happened. Like, it's not even a necessary argument. And so Marsau, you know how Marsau does in his Marsau way. He tries to explain to people why he feels the way that he does. So he goes and he makes an example. Oh, it would be the same as if he thought that he had a sex had some sort of sexually transmitted disease, he would go to the doctor and he takes the test and then he doesn't have it, it's negative, and then he's supposed to be happy and his wife is supposed to be happy. No, the wife wants to know why you think you got a damn sexually transmitted disease in the first place, because the wife doesn't have one. Okay, so in the same vein, how is it that she feels that she's pregnant when I can't produce a baby? So the same way that the wife would think that the husband was fucking around because they had thought that they had a sexually transmitted disease, then he should be able to feel the way that he feels about her possibly being pregnant from a man that can't produce the semen to fertilize an egg. So, you know, again, Martell is there co-signing, oh, there's nothing wrong with him feeling this way. Okay, there's nothing wrong with him feeling this way. However, Marsau has a point. So I'm not saying that Marsau doesn't have a point, but it don't seem like it needs to go all the way here. And especially Marsau would need to think about all the things that he put his wife through. Maurice and Chris is of the thinking that he's making a mountain out of a molehill, but Martell feels that Marsau should be behaving exactly the way that he is behaving. He sees no problem with it. But it's really about Marsau's bruised ego and all of that, and him just kind of finally realizing that, oh, I possibly do have a wife that could cheat. She's not going to, but maybe this is the first time that Marsau actually thought about the fact that Letitia could cheat, especially when he said all of the shit that people have been saying to her over the years, like that stuff could have eventually cracked in her thinking, in her psyche, and finally she was like, you know what, I'm gonna go cheat. I was just like surprised to hear him say that. And so when he said that, I was just like, is this a husband doing his wife a solid? Like, is this a husband who has put his wife through so much on this show and feels kind of bad about the fact that people have looked at Letitia as like a pushover? And so is he doing this and allowing himself to look this vulnerable and silly so that his wife can get back on the good side or the graces of the viewer? Like, that's a stretch, I could see. But I also feel like maybe he could be doing this to make himself look really bad to help Letitia look better. Okay? Because Letitia don't get too many moments where she can kind of get back at Marsau. So I'm like, maybe this is like a moment where he's trying to help her. And it's just like, okay, I'm just going to make myself really look bad. And Letitia can hold on to her point and really just like, yes, it could be you too, you know, and maybe now, I don't know. But it was interesting for him to say that, for him to admit that a person could be weak enough to possibly, not even weak enough, but a person could listen to the outside noise and eventually that shit get to them and then they go and cheat, you know? So I just was like, I don't know. It was just a moment where I didn't think that Marsau would usually admit to something like that. That's why I was just like, is this just for the show? What y'all think? Anyway, he tired of thinking about it, you know, and the guys, like I said, they giving him a hard time. So he gets up and he goes back to the room. So when he gets to the room, Letitia's just like, why are you rolling your eyes at me? And he was like, I didn't roll my eyes at you, Letitia. Let's just go to bed. Okay. And she was just like, no, I don't want to go to bed. Like, why are you rolling your eyes at me? What's wrong? You know. And so then we start up on this conversation again. Okay, Marsau upset about the damn test. And Letitia's whole point is, I understand that you feel the way that you feel. However, okay, you can't just trust the fact that I did not go and cheat on you. All right, who the hell do you think I am? Like, who do you really, for real, who do you think I am? All right, like, really, you've been with me all this time. You should know me well enough. Well, I guess maybe, and you know, me and you only know a person. You can only trust a person as far as you can throw them. You don't really know what a person will do. You could think that, but people surprise us all the time. But you know, her whole thing was just like, what do you think this is? Like, no. He says that she's gaslighting him. Okay, so they're arguing back and forth and all, and Maurice, he's on his way, I guess, back to his room, and when he's walking down the hall, he can hear them arguing in there, you know. So he knocks on the door and they're like, who's knocking? You know, so Letitia opens the door and she was just like, you know what? I'm not staying in here. Like, I'm not sleeping in here. You talk to him. And, you know, so Maurice was like, no, come out. Let me talk to you for a second. So when she goes out there, then Marceau goes out there like, Maurice, I don't need anything. Like, I don't need you to talk to her. And they was like, nigga, go somewhere. You gonna tell me I can't talk to her if I want to? So Marceau leaves, and so Maurice is talking to Letitia, and Maurice is saying that he can see both sides and the reasons that they feel the way that they did and all of this, but he's trying to calm Letitia down, and Letitia's just like, I'm fine. Like, I'm not trying to be in no fight with him this whole weekend and all that. I'm not trying to ruin the trip, but she was hurt by the fact that this man, after I didn't count, I mean, you know, it's been so many times when people said that he's done something, and I just have said, no, I believed what he believed, and she just can't understand why he ain't done the same for her. Okay, well, that's just something that we need to remember, okay? You know, sometimes we just find out things, and we have to keep that in the memory bank, and we have to just consider it whenever we got to consider it. And that's what Letitia said, so that's something that she needs to consider. Yeah, sometimes you just do. Okay, but I mean, it ain't like her and Marceau gonna break up over this or nothing. So it was just sort of like, y'all get over it. Fuck, we trying to have a damn weekend away, and here y'all with this mess. So Maurice lets Letitia go. You know, Maurice was like, he wouldn't want to trade places with Marceau. I said, you surely wouldn't, because you wouldn't be fucking 3 times a day. That's for damn sure. Now, 2:30 in the morning, we see the clips that we saw in the trailer of Martell sneaking some woman into the house. I mean, what are we supposed to do with this? You know, I mean, Martell is definitely grown and he's single and everything, but really, nigga, you couldn't go one weekend without having a woman come and visit you at this vacation thing. You had to have a woman come down there. He only did that because Mel was there. Okay. And I guess this was him establishing his whatever it was that he was establishing, knowing that Mel was going to find out about. Mel could give a fuck about whether or not Martell done snuck this woman up in there. What woman wants to be snuck up into a house with all these other people up in there, middle of the fucking night? You know, it's just like, girl, what? Who is these women that's doing these kind of things? Like, you making yourself look so crazy up here. I was just like, okay. But anyway, he's sneaking this woman in. Maurice had then got up and to get up in the, you know, get something to drink or something, he said, from the kitchen. And then he saw it. So he's kind of creeping around the corners and seeing Martell bring the woman in, you know. He's like, oh, what's up, Reese? And he go on back and, you know, Maurice was just like, oh, he had a woman in here. And I was just like, I mean, it was just absolutely no reason why this man had to have that woman there today. Nigga, you can get your dick sucked any day, okay? You couldn't let 2 days go, right? It's just childish. Now, the next day, Martell goes in there to check on Marceau, and Marceau tells him that Letitia didn't sleep in there, you know, but he's not going to allow himself to be the bad guy on this one because he ain't done nothing wrong. And again, he's talking to Martell, so just use that at your discretion. Martell was just like, do you think that there's a chance that she cheated? And that's when Marceau starts to talk about, you know, her hearing for years that he might have cheated, so maybe that has worked its way into her way of thinking. But whatever, Marceau don't feel like this is going to be worked out on this trip. You know, I guess he's determined to stay upset during this trip. Letitia feels differently, though. Letitia wants everything to be fine. She don't want to be fighting. She's talking to Kimmy, and she's telling them, even though they did have an argument about it last night, you know, and that it's the same thing, that, you know, she's not going to be sitting and fighting with him talking about it. Kimmy was just like, you should understand how he feels, and he should understand how you feel. That's the same way that I feel. I think that Letitia might be able to understand how Marceau felt. However, the fact that Marceau is not trying to understand how Letitia feels in any kind of way, she's not even trying to understand how Marceau feels. But Kimmy thought that last night, you know, that it was over, that everybody was okay. But Letitia was like, no, it wasn't okay, because when we went back to the room, you know, we still argued about it. So, you know, he was not okay and over it. She gonna try to understand Marcel's side. That's all she can do. Okay, as long as the tequila don't kick in, she might see things a little differently. Now we see Nell and Chris, and they decided they're gonna have some sort of team building activities. I'm thinking like, how you two coming up with the team building? Okay, I guess. But before before we get to that, we find out that Nell got a call from Kiki, and Kiki was like, "Hey girl, how's the trip going?" And Nell, everything is good. Everything is good. How you doing, girl? And she tells her that she's good and all, and that Kiki was sitting around thinking about it, and she has decided that she wants to come on the trip. I just don't understand on these shows. People just call folks and say they want to go on a damn trip. Nigga, you don't invite yourself nowhere. Who raised these folks? Okay? I mean, I know they had to get Kiki out there, but it seemed like it would have been a better way for them to do that. All right, but yeah, Kiki is calling because she say she want to come, and Nell was just like, well, it looked like y'all got something y'all need to work through. So I don't know how Marceau and Letitia gonna feel about it. They not gonna be happy. I'm telling you this right now, Nell, and you know that too. Okay, but the producers, they are using the hell out of Nell. They making Nell do all kind of shit that is just going to make Nell not have, people are not going to like Nell because they don't think that she's being messy. But this is clearly production putting it on Nell. Okay. So anyway, Nell is talking to Chris, and she tells Chris that Kiki called and that, she was feeling kind of bad. And so she told her to come. And Chris was just like, why would you do that? He was just like, he was like, we've been having a good weekend, okay, minus Letitia and Marceau's fight, but everything has been good. If you invite her there, that's going to make us look bad, make us look messy. And I was like, absolutely it is, Chris. But your wife is letting production use her, okay? So he was like making it clear that he ain't had nothing to do with this. This is something that Nell decided, which was to bring Kiki. And that's what Nell was just like, well, she's standing on business, like the kids like to say. She's standing on business. She already told the lady she can come, so she coming. And oh, well, you need to support me on this. Chris was like, I need to support you. He was like, I'm not supporting nothing that I told you don't do this. This is all on you, okay? So when that girl come up here and get to starting some mess, and when Letitia and Marceau get mad and want to point fingers, I'm going to tell them to point them both, all their fingers, all 20 of them, towards you. I was just like, I don't know how this team building activity going to go, but I mean, I guess. So, yeah, you guys, when is the finale? What, don't nobody know? Because I done asked y'all like the last 3 videos and nobody has told me. Because I guess don't nobody, that shit gonna go on forever. I feel like I'm on a fucking Groundhog Day, like it's never ending. This is my last season of Love and Marriage Huntsville. I have decided I'm not reviewing this show after this season. So we gonna just ride it out. But yeah, y'all let me know. Somebody please let me know. Is next week the finale, the episode 30? Are we gonna be at 35, 40? Like, what is it, you guys? I'm over it. Anyway, let me know. All right, you guys, that is it. Make sure that you thumbs up the video, comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm Roxanne. The channel is itsrox. Everything else I do will be in the bottom bar. All right. So I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and I plan on doing the same. Till next time, rock stars. Bye.